Hey guys, hope you're all having an awesome night. So I'm actually gonna do a pick a pile so you guys can pick a specific pile and get a message tailored to you and like what's going on. I want to do that because I feel like a lot of us are in weird transitions. A lot of us are in different spaces like in our lives right now. There are some of us who are like ending cycles, and we have a lot of like the old coming up for us to kind of review it and having like little blips of clarity and like information for the bigger purpose that we have and like why some of this shit that's been happening has been happening. And there's a lot of energy of like not feeling like yourself and kind of going backwards and going to the past and stuff like that. Whereas some people are right now like starting this creative journey, like their passions, they're starting to do things that they enjoy. There's people who are kind of like a mix in the middle. So there's always so much kind of going on. I feel like for the first group who's in the group I'm in, like we are going through it pretty heavy the last like week. It's been pretty intense and strong. I was talking to somebody earlier today at the shop and she's been going through, I said, this started in 2018. And I was telling her kind of what I've noticed in my patterns and stuff. And she's been going through the same type of shit for the last 4 years too. So some of us are at the end of the cycle of it, thank God, because it's been a lot. But there's a lot of people who are in like different areas and stuff like that. And I don't know, I just felt like I needed to do like a pick-up pile because I feel like with all of like the transitions and everything that's kind of going on this way, we can kind of, you know, get like our own messages and stuff like that, obviously. And I do want to say this, you can actually be seeing this video months and months later, a year or two later after I record it. And yes, the message is still for you. And funny enough, somebody had commented on a video I did a year ago where I said it was timeless. And I just watched it a year later and had commented on it and said something. So it's funny because I went and I was like, oh, you know what? That's weird. Usually when people will like comment on a video or like a video from like a year or two ago, I'm like something, usually there's a message for me. So I just kind of scrolled. I watched a few minutes. I scrolled. I watched like another few minutes, just watched what I intuitively felt. And it's so funny because I was actually talking about shit that we were working toward that I realized like the last week or so how much I've grown and changed. And the shit I was talking about like a year and a half ago, I think it said it was January 2021, so a year and a half ago, is stuff that I actually am now, like stuff that I've already worked on. And also funny seeing how like I used to do like certain things to get into alignment, and now I don't do that at all. Like I'm like fully surrendered, fully like accepting, like actually truly empowered, shit like that. So it was interesting as I was talking about stuff in the video from literally a year and a half ago to see how much I've changed and grown and stuff, and how much all that's actually is now what I talked about back then that I was working or we were working on. So it's kind of interesting. Okay, I'm gonna do two. Okay. I didn't even see the cards. See, I like to do the pickup piles where I don't see the cards like up front. So I'll tell you, I'll show you that one I saw. I'll show you the piles and then you can pick. But I'd say pick either one or two. You intuitively are going to know it anyway without even seeing them. If you feel drawn to both of them though, there might be messages in both of them for you that does both of these. That does, I guess that one too. That does happen sometimes where there can be messages in both of them for you. So if you want to ask a question, you can ask a question too. I'm not going to do it like that, but sometimes you might get an answer if you do, FYI. It does happen. You want one for that or no? No? Okay, I guess not. Got shadows on the bottom. I'm not even remotely surprised. Spiritual progression, facing your fears. I feel like a lot of us have been getting hit with major fears the last few days too. So, okay. So this is pile 1. This is pile 2. So pick a pile and then we'll see what the cards are. All right. So pile 1, you got changes. Choose wisely. Awareness. Back and forth, and a loving woman. I love it because I actually just looked up and it was 444. Okay, I'm gonna do it the way it came out because I feel like the energy is weird the way this is. Okay. your group feels like they're in a weird transition. First off, let me just say that the energy feels super weird and very much lacking clarity. Like you have like little bits of clarity, just really odd. It feels like almost like you have an idea of what you actually want, but you keep going back and forth on it because fears come up, conditioning comes up. It's like you get excited and you have this energy about it and then it goes away. And then you're like, well, did I even want that? Was it this? And it feels like whatever this is, whether it's a relationship, it's like a job, a business, a passion, something like that, could be all of those or more than one of them. Feels like this back and forth. You feel like you guys are in the middle of a cycle right now. You're in the middle of a cycle with this. And the reason for this is because you're actually growing and learning what you truly desire without all the conditioning and trauma and like shit society said to you and what people say like you should be doing, or the areas where you're scared to do what you want because of what you've been told it's a problem, stuff like that. So it feels like you guys are actually growing and learning about who you are internally and what you want. With the awareness, choose wisely and changes. Okay, we're having that to the side. Oh, I just realized the awareness, the choose wisely is under the back and forth card. I just realized that. When I read the cards, I channel, so I don't actually usually pay attention to the card. That's hysterical. It feels like you guys are actually gaining internal stability. That's what it feels like. It feels like you don't even realize what's going on. You're gaining internal stability and you're learning how to kind of focus your mind on what you truly desire without all the other shit, without all the noise. But it feels like you guys are still listening to other people and you're still doing things out of ego. Like you're still making decisions based on that type of shit. So for some of you, it feels like almost like you got excited or you have an idea or something like that. And then you're doing posts because you're trying to get likes, you're trying to get followers, you're doing it for the ego reasons and not because it's something good for you. And I'll tell you this, I used to actually fall into the same shit. So when I started doing readings, like on the page, well, I didn't start this page doing readings. I started this page actually talking about healing and trauma and shit like that. And then Spirit guided me to do readings. And at like one point I was like, oh, barely anybody watches the videos. I wasn't posting videos for likes. I wasn't posting for comments and shit like that. But at one point, like it seemed like nobody liked anything I posted. Nobody was commenting. And I was like, is there even a purpose to doing this? Like, is anybody even seeing it? Is it even helping anybody? And this happened actually probably about 2 years ago because it was right after I opened the store. Somebody that watches my videos came into the store and said, I just want to let you know, like, I really appreciate your videos. They help me so much, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at her and I was like, thank you. Like, I really needed to hear that because I was just feeling like I was just wasting my time. Like, no, it wasn't helping anybody. Nobody was, whatever. And I've gotten out of that mindset anyway. Now I'm in the mindset, and I've been in the mindset for a while, is like the people who need to see it will see it when they need to see it. And I enjoy doing it, and I like to help people. And even if it helps one person, it's worth my time. And that's kind of my mentality now. But it feels like some of you guys were doing it for the right reasons, and it was because something you really enjoyed. But then you started getting, or you're in, or started getting into this, well, people aren't liking, or people aren't following, or people aren't interacting, or not that many people are seeing it, or like that type of shit. Try not to worry about that shit. Try not to worry about that, because some of that is you doing what you love and doing it for the right reasons, and then allowing it to naturally unfold. When I first opened the crystal store, I wasn't that busy. Like my first weekend I was busy, but like I wasn't always consistently busy. It took almost a year before I started getting busy. And then, like even this month has been slow. So it's sometimes as you're growing and building, like you're growing stuff internally and it has a different purpose than the outward, achievement you want to see, the outward validation you want to see. Like there's something else going on. And sometimes it's teaching you internally stuff, or it's helping you release stuff, things like that. So just realize, like, if you're focusing on that shit doesn't fucking matter. Like, that doesn't mean success. It doesn't mean whatever. Like, don't worry so much about, like, what people think or how people perceive what you're doing and stuff like that. Try to focus more so on, like, what you actually want, and don't allow the lack of you know, people looking at stuff or the lack of, you know, making money or whatever to stop you from doing what you want. If it's something you truly want to do, then keep moving forward and just realize that, like, sometimes it's about being patient and waiting for things to come in and keep doing it anyway, being persistent. If something's not working, you'll know something's not working, and then you transition. You'll get guidance on it and stuff like that. So it doesn't necessarily feel like you have to make a choice, really. It's more so about continuing to do what you want, what you love. With the changes card, it feels like there's a lot of perception changes you guys are going to go through. It doesn't feel like you've went through them yet. This group kind of feels like that group I was talking about, not the group I'm in. The group I was talking about where I said, like, you guys are starting to have, like, the passions or ideas, and you're just kind of going into them more recently within, like, the last month or so where you had some type of transition with that. This is what that group actually feels like. And it feels like you guys are going through, like, perception changes. Like, you might have a rough start to some of your passions or some of the things that you're starting. Like, you might have, like, a little bit of, like, the motivation and drive and, like, positive things to encourage you. And then you might get hit with the bumps in the road, or where it feels like things aren't working out and you're feeling like you're kind of chasing or stuff like that. If it's something you truly desire, I'm going to pull this top card because it is just annoying. It is, like, calling me, and I don't know what it is. I think it's for you guys anyway, but, like, be persistent. Like, keep moving forward and doing it. Do it because you love it, not because of the other shit. And as you're growing, you're gonna learn more. You know, like, one day with my business, like, I've always worked hard at it and I've always done stuff. And one day I just started getting busier. Honestly, when I kind of cut, like, dead weight in my life, people and shit, it just randomly started getting busier. I wasn't doing anything extra. I wasn't doing anything more, you know, stuff like that. And it goes through cycles. Like, I go through cycles with it. So, like, the last month I've been kind of slow, the last few weeks. The way I look at it is I have enough money to pay my bills. I'm good. And the way I look at it is thank you for the break, because I probably needed to get other shit done. I needed to focus on other things, and it gave me an energetic break from dealing with people. So I try to look at it in, like, a different perspective of, like, okay, well, if I'm not making a ton of money, that's okay. Like, it's fine, you know. Granted, I had to close for a whole week because I wasn't feeling good, but yeah. So it feels like a lot of you guys are about to go through perspective changes, and the reason you're in the cycle that you're in is you started getting what you wanted and things like that, but when stuff kind of falls off, is teaching you where you sabotage, where you give up, where you don't keep being persistent. It is teaching you all of the trauma and conditioning and all the shit you need to release and, like, let go of. So this way, when you get the next step in the road, you're actually going to be stable and solid with it. Let's see what this card is that's at the top. The loving man. Interesting. You guys got the loving woman and the loving man. Look at that. This doesn't actually feel great. I'm not gonna lie. The words that keep coming up are false promises. That's the words that keep coming up with this card. False promises. I think my food's here. If this is for you, what Spirit's saying is false promises stand in your power. Like, if somebody, it doesn't necessarily have to be a man. It can be anybody. If somebody is saying shit to you and they keep not showing up, or they keep not giving you what you need and deserve, stop listening to false promises. That they're not wanting me to give you advice on it. That's just all they're having me say. Okay. Pile 2. Hold on. I'll write it down so I can tag the times. Okay. Pile 2. You got heart chakra. That one was, like, kind of falling out. Suffering in silence. This shit already feels heavy. Universe. You had a bunch of cards come out from this deck. Material and spiritual prosperity. Commitment. Family. I feel like the TikTok that I did more recent is for you guys. The one I did like a few weeks ago. I feel like that might be for some of you guys. Okay, let me fix these and put them in order. Whew. This group feels like you guys are, like, really wanting to start a family and really wanting to settle down, whatever that means to you, okay? It feels like you guys are, like, ready to fucking settle down. Like, relationship wise, starting a family, but in your life in general. And it feels like you guys are actually committed to doing that. Like you've worked through so much stuff and you're like, I'm done settling for less than I deserve. Like I'm only moving forward with what I want. I'm done settling. And it feels like a lot of you guys had some family dysfunction and stuff, and you've worked through a lot of it. You've healed like a lot of this. And because of that, you're making commitments to yourself and you're actually sticking with them, and you know like what you want and you're not settling for less. It feels like you guys already went through actually the first group's type of lessons already, and you're in this group. So the group one, if that was primarily what you were drawn to and you're in that, you will be in this energy after you go through that transition. So it's interesting the way that worked. With the material and spiritual prosperity in universe, it feels like you guys are kind of just going with the flow more and learning to be patient with the process. Like you're getting hit with a lot of energy and you're clearing a lot of stuff, but you understand that it has a purpose and it's bringing you to a bigger, is bringing you toward your life path, like what you actually desire and what you actually want. It feels like you guys are pretty intuitive too. Like you already have like clarity on what you want. It might not be like the specific small details of it, but you have like the bigger clarity, like the bigger picture of what you actually want, like the vision of it, kind of like the idea, like what it might look like. You probably had some intuitive messages come in about it. With the suffering and silence and heart chakra, it feels like a lot of you guys have been going through major emotional heart chakra purges. And it feels like almost, I'm going to pull another card for you guys afterward. It feels almost like this like never ending purging. It feels like you know it's going to end, but also you're kind of questioning, is it ever going to end? Because the cycle has been so long. Like, yes, it will end. Things will shift. You're not going to feel so much heaviness here. You guys, it feels like there's heaviness in the heart chakra right now, in the chest area. And for some of you, it feels like you've kind of had to go through a lot of it alone. You might have like one or two friends that kind of help you, but it feels like a lot of you guys kind of had to go through this alone. And you definitely lost some friends and people along the way, but you needed to lose those people to get to where you needed to be, because you're going on your spiritual path and like nothing's stopping you. It just feels like you guys just want like just peace and like love, like just want this like love energy, whether it's a family, you know, a romantic relationship, a change in your relationship, whatever. All right, hold on, because I want to pull another one. Okay, you got spiritual guidance on the bottom. Your group definitely feels like really divinely guided. It almost feels like you might not be feeling them so much right now, but you know that like they're always guiding you regardless if you feel them or not. Like I think a lot of you guys have come to that place where you know, or if you're kind of questioning it, this is spirit giving you the validation, like that you are always being spiritually guided. Like they're never going to just go away and just like abandon you. Okay. Like they're always going to guide you. With this confidence and validation, it feels like some of you guys are working on some old issues of confidence, some areas where you weren't standing in your power, where you weren't empowering yourself, where you're still lacking like confidence in your looks or in your intuition or in yourself. Like it feels like you guys are mostly pretty solid with it, but there's still some like minor tweaks and stuff where you need to, it's already coming up and you're already working on it, because you know that you're worthy and you know you're deserving and you're starting to actually like really truly believe it. But as it's happening, you're kind of having like the spiral where it's like coming back, goes away, comes back, goes away, because you're really like actually solidifying it internally and you're releasing it for good. Like you're releasing these areas where you were lacking confidence and self-esteem and you weren't empowering yourself. And there's going to always be, you know, doubts and shit that comes up. It's not about perfection, but it's about not settling, not accepting less than you deserve. And you guys feel like you're pretty good with that. With the validation card, I'm going to read it. This came out the other day too, the inner child card. My feelings are valid. My needs are valid. My desires are valid. My emotions are valid. Feels like you guys have been doing pretty good with this, where in the past you kind of would invalidate yourself, maybe like some codependency issues, choosing other people, or kind of questioning like your own needs. Some of you guys feel like you had a pretty big trigger recently with somebody else having to do with like your emotions or your needs or something like that. And you're stepping forward with confidence within you, where you're choosing yourself as hard as that is. You might be taking baby steps there. You might be doing it in a slow way and really trying to like think about it instead of being reactive. But it feels like you guys are really taking like baby steps forward and like really choosing yourself this time. It feels like in the past you didn't choose yourself as much, and it feels like you're really choosing yourself this time, and you're walking away from people, situations, perceptions, and things that are not good for you guys. So you guys definitely feel like you are close to the end of the cycle. It feels like you guys know that. There might be a little bit of like back and forth where it feels like you're moving forward and then you're going backwards, you're moving forward and then you're going backwards. But that's because you're clearing old shit. And some of you are also in the cycle I'm in, which I got this message earlier. We're kind of in a review period. Yeah. We're kind of in this like review period where we're kind of clearing some of the old shit still that's kind of sitting there still, but also where we're seeing all of the areas, like how we used to think, how we used to handle things, how we used to feel, and kind of like reviewing like our progress, like where we actually are, how much we've actually grown and learned in this cycle and this process. And for a lot of people, you started this cycle around 2017, between, I would say 2017, 2018. Some of you might have started a little bit in 2019, but mostly this specific cycle started around 2017, 2018 for most people. If that resonates with you. What's this card on the bottom that's sticking out? Let me just pull this. The vast universe. Oof, did I just get some spirit energy from this? Feels like your guys' spiritual gifts, when they open up, like some of you already have them, but when they open up, they are going to be so powerful and so easy compared to what you've had to deal with. They're going to just be so powerful, easy, and just like part of your purpose that you're going to be able to handle your power. And they're saying that's why the confidence card came out too, because you're going to actually be able to handle your power. Where in the past you kind of dulled yourself a little bit, like you're not going to be dulling yourself anymore. And you already know that, like you're already empowered and you're going to be standing in your power and not allowing people to knock you down because they're insecure, you're triggering their shadow or shit like that. And you're going to stand confident in that. And you're going to help so many people by just being you, your light. Like I'm seeing this light just like radiating from you, where you're just going to be so magical and so like powerful and internally strong, but like so beautiful and nurturing and like loving and safe and stable and just such good energy that like people are going to be drawn to you. But you've already learned all the shit you need to for that stability. So you guys definitely have some good shit coming up. So anyway, I hope that this reading helped, and I'm wishing you guys so much love and light.